Ring ring ring, hello simps and virgins, and welcome. What are you doing?
You're tarnished.
And welcome back to Krown's magical, extremely sexy, and very seductive
And family friendly.
Nope. Magic internet money game.
Well. Welcome back to the Krown Crypto channel. Plenty to talk about today in the short-term timeframes, as always, but that is where everything is to be spoken about. What's up, Mr. Josh? I see you over there, brother, and major thank you for that. Good to see you as always, man. And I actually we haven't spoken in DM for a while, man. I hope everything's all good and everything's running well over there in your hemisphere of the world. Anyways, Jesus Christ, what is going on with my hair? It's a monstrosity yet again today. Anyways, I do want to follow up on the short-term time frame analysis, of which we did get our nice short-term time frame bounce solo that we were looking for yesterday to the $40,000 region, and what happens after that. Nice little rejection, and the overall range plays out. So not too much to, not really much has changed actually even in that regard as well today, but there are a few major things to be aware of in today's closing for the 5-day and the weekly 4 CME that can really help with judging and having a bit of a bias, at least for myself, coming in next week, and I would say like 5 to 10 days of price action upon closure tonight. So with that in mind, I do want to wish everyone a nice and healthy and happy Friday? What the fuck? It's Friday? Hey, what the actual bastard? It is Friday. That's insane, man. And I still got News Club NFTs on my description here that I just realized. My apologies on that, although, well, might as well give them another day. Anyways, I see Nikki Page. Good morning to you, our lovely moderator. I think I even see Rocky G and African Crypto Warlord as well. Good to see you fellas as always. Who else do we have? JFU. And I see... hey, what's up, Style Exteriors? SK, Jesus, Venegas. Stand with the SEC for trust building with that picture of Greg. Man, that is just fucking gorgeous right there. I know, ain't it? I see even Mr. Hey, what's up, Wally Nell? There he is. Who dat sexy boy? Well, we ain't no boys over here, man. Although... Mr. Wally is no longer a boy, man. He's grown into a man. He's become a man, and now he's one with the cave. Anyways, what's up, folks? What's up? Who else? Oh, I see a few other familiar faces. I see a lot of familiar faces, actually. As always, Yasik Bischoff. What's up, brother? And I see that African Crypto Warlord has already timed someone out for disagreeing with my choice of music. That's exactly right. There will be no disagreements with anything I say, and if there is, it's you're fucking out, and you're never coming back ever again, because that's right. That's kind of shit that we run around here. If anyone has any dissenting opinions, gone! Just fucking gone, baby. Anyways, of course not, man. Hey, you feel free to like whatever fucking music that you like. Although, if you're going to be on this channel, well, you are going to be subjugated to the music that we like, because, well, it's not a fucking democracy. It's a crownocracy, and I'm the crown tater, and you will be crown tated. Sorry, man. Hey, what's up, Philson? There he is, man. Superman hair today. And Gabor, good morning to you as well. Moon Raccoon, and there he is, Bear Nutrition with the meats already. I'm going to polish off a little bit more of this coffee, and I figured that today is probably going to be a bit more of a probably a shorter video, probably a shorter analysis, simply to just represent the consistency of what we've been looking at for the past, I mean, realistically, the past couple months here, and even the short-term time frames the past week here. So repetition in this way, whilst it is boring, it is, that is a lot of trading, man. That is a lot of trading. Anyways, I need to, I got a few more sippy sips over here, actually. You're my favorite too, bro. Sounds kind of racist. I don't really subscribe to any religion for the people who are asking, which is interesting. Although I'm not against it, but hey, to each their own, right? Anyways, I got a few more sips over here, and then we'll get right into it. He Loves Pizza and OG of the Cave. I definitely know that name. And good morning to all my fellow tarnished, man. I'm halfway through, I think, the Elden Rings. It's been an amazing game, especially during these more boring times in the market. Okay, there we go. All right, let me let's start it off with Bitcoin today, of which I want to follow up on the short-term time frame analysis and then bring it full circle with the higher-term time frame analysis, which has been more or less the same over the past month here. There's a major signal that could be coming in as soon as tonight upon the daily closing basis, which would really help with the next 5 to 10 days on a general bias for the market. But for right now, as far as the short-term time frames go, this is a chart that we were working off of yesterday. We were looking for a little bit of a bouncy bounce up to the 40 to 40,500-ish region, right in this blue box territory right here. That was yesterday. we did get that. And whilst we didn't really say that there was, it's just, look, if price action confirms above, which quite literally it tested literally right to the top side of that, then I'd be looking for continuation to the prior highs. However, obviously it was a rejection, so the prior range does hold true, and that's essentially what we're looking at right now. So this is the exact same chart that we were looking at yesterday, except for the VPVR, although I think that does add a little bit more color as to the significance of our current range right now in the very, very short-term time frames if you're below an hourly. But in this case right here, it's more or less the same thing. If you're on an hourly, about 38.3 to the downside versus about 40,000 and in change, let's call it 40,200, basically the high of yesterday to the upside. Anything between there is just another range play. And this is another instance where I want to remind myself to perhaps remind you, and also remind myself as well, that this is why range plays, especially in a market like this that is mostly ranging, they're not the most sexy thing, but they are definitely profitable. And well, sometimes it's sometimes it's just the main thing to be doing, at least in my opinion. And that's pretty much all I've done in the last week. I mean, yesterday I had one trade, just open and close, and that was it, man. That's all that the market gave me based off my edge. And so I go back to playing video games. Anyways, in this case right here, it's going to be more or less the same thing today, actually. I am still looking, or I'm going to be looking for yet again another bounce off this low $38,000 region. If I'm on a full hour, I'd say that that's a closing basis of 38,450. If I'm on an hourly, that'd be a closing basis of about basically the low of what we saw right here, 38,250 to 38,300. Until then, I see no range resolution, and I do see some divergences building up on the short-term timeframes right here. Hourly already printed, regular bullish divergence, and I'm curious if this goes up to a full hour. Let's see over here. No, not necessarily just yet, actually. In fact, it won't even be possible right here, to be quite fair. So ultimately, what was essentially leading us into that idea yesterday? And we've actually seen the same sort of thing play out several times in the past week here. So I kind of want to go over this because I figured this is, hopefully going to be in some way helpful, especially during these more boring times. Yeah, there is actually something to do. And basically what we were looking for is we were looking at a bit of a short-term bounce based off of regular divergence calls on the very short-term timeframes, plus short-term timeframe momentum oscillators turning up right here as well. So that was your hourly through 4 hour yesterday. You can see this move right here, but this was within the context of declining volatility, right? So we worked off of extremes on the lower term timeframes. So that was first and foremost a corrective move, meaning that is more likely to play within the overall range at best, and at worst just print another lower high before continuation lower, which, to be fair, on the hourly, we did get a continuation uptrend, but this is not a range resolution, at least in the way that I look at things, for like a like an actual breakout with targets back down to the blue box area right here, which is between about 37 to 37.5 or so. That is not actionable in the way that I look at things until Bitcoin closes at minimum and hourly below about 38,200 or 38,250, or a 4 hour below about 38,400 in this case. Until then, kind of the same thing as yesterday. I am looking for this one to yet again, grind this area out, play out the LARP lines that we put in here yesterday, and probably give, another bounce. And then the question is, on that bounce, same shit as yesterday. Do we get back above the critical region right here, of which this is not relevant towards this fib? I think we were working off of maybe this chart. Yeah, we were working off of this chart right here for that, and that was the 0.618 at about 40,500. You can see Bitcoin just got ever so slightly around that region. I'd say that is still the relevant region to get above for the boo laws in the short and medium term timeframes. That actually means something significant has happened with subsequent targets, back up to the prior highs of, I believe this was this week at 42,500 or so. It very likely does set Bitcoin up for another move back up to the top side of the general range that Bitcoin's been working off of for the past couple of months since early January. Consider that for the past couple of months, very little has changed on the higher term timeframes at all, basically since January, where our high side of this range, let me actually just adjust this because it's kind of getting in the way, but it is still relevant. The high side of the range is still about $44,500 on a daily closing basis versus a low side of the range, which has been steadily rising. Obviously this one over here is about $34,500. Then this one over here was about $36,500. Well, in this case, I'd say it's about $37,000 in a daily closing basis. And again, rising over time. As long as that does hold true, Bitcoin is in the process of putting in some higher lows right here, and it's got the same highs right here. And so if I did want to present some Boolah-ish hopium, which still is awaiting validation, I would actually still be looking at this as, well, relevant until Bitcoin does go below on a daily closing basis at minimum $37,000. I would actually be or err on the side of caution here and even say $36,500 would actually resolve this one to the downside, with very likely targets back down to the macro range lows, that being between about $29,500 and about $31,000 back down around here. Very likely bounces there, and that bounce probably does fail, to be fair, over a long enough time period. But until that happens, I actually do still look at this as, hopium is alive for the Boolaws and will be validated if and when Bitcoin does close a higher term time frame, namely a daily above 44,500. That would confirm this as an ascending triangle, which is a reaccumulation formation, and it does have a technical target all the way up here towards $55,000 to $56,000, probably in the following weeks upon that validation, which is also in line with 3.272 Fibonacci extension right here. That is good confluence, and then on top of that, we would naturally, confirm at the same time hidden bullish evidence of the two drives variety coming off of this low right here. For right now, that's obviously not in place, but I would say that if you are looking for, the signal of the day, if you will, a little bit of clickbait bullshit right there, I'd be saying that if the Boolaw's hopes are going to remain alive, we do expect that the 5-day stochastic momentum will turn back around this region here, which does imply that Bitcoin does close above 39,500 by, around end of day today. If that does happen, we will not just see 5 days stochastic momentum turn back onto the upside, but we'll see it get out of the bearish control zone for the first time since middle of December of last year. Might I remind you where Bitcoin was trading around that time by actually marking it off right here. There we go. Let me actually pull up a fresh chart because this one's going to get too convoluted and kind of annoying. Maybe not that one, maybe this one here. Yeah, this one's fresh. All right, let me just go back to that point. So this was when Bitcoin entered into the 5-day stochastic momentum bearish control zone, right around here on that failed attempt at about $52,000. Ever since then, it has been well within the bearish control zone. So if Bitcoin were to get back above there, that would obviously be a more important thing for the longer term. Doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin's going to go literally from that point to the $45,000 level immediately, but it keeps open the Boolaw's hopes alive. And then of course, then it goes still in the way that I look at things, range resolution. So at minimum, that would be short-term timeframes back above basically yesterday's high, 40,500 if you want to be super, conservative with it. But ultimately above there, I'd be looking for a retest of the high of the week, 42.5, very likely short-term pullback right there, and then probably does set it up for continuation of the top side of the range. Again, that would be the bullish look on this price action. And to be fair, on our shorter-term timeframe stochastic momentum oscillators, we see a very similar setup to yesterday. In fact, looking at the 4-hour right here, we do see 4-hour stochastic momentum will turn back onto the upside with any sort of closure above 39,350. That number will naturally come down upon this next closure, which is coming in about an hour and 36 minutes and 49 seconds. So, by probably midday today, or midday for myself, basically US Open for most people who are watching over here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. We probably do see that one come down significantly, and well, that would open up the probabilities towards a more likely short-term move to the upside. Again, however, do keep in mind, we are looking at this within the context of declining volatility. So this is still a corrective move, basically the same shit as yesterday. So I would not feel confident saying that this is likely to be the one. If we go over to a 3-hour, we're going to see it in the very likely same posturing as well. Yes, indeed we do. 38,927 is the magical number to beat. And if we go to the bi-hourly, I believe it's in the same area as well as I did my homework this morning. Come on, load baby. There we go. 38,700 or so, just below there. And hourly is going to be flippy floppy, but going to be turning back up above 38.5. So in this case, you do see all lower term timeframes kind of building upon each other. And I usually look at that as a good signal if the highest of those lower term timeframes, in this case, that would be the 4-hour. So that was around 39,300, does get validated above. Very likely going to test those range highs that we saw, or sorry, not the range highs, but the high from yesterday, somewhere around there. See a similar move to that. And then, well, the question is, does Bitcoin actually validate above that region or not? That would initiate the next set of targets. If not, then probably same thing as what we saw yesterday as well. That quick move up and that quick rejection, basically. So I do want to bring this up here too, in the sense that not only is the 5-day going to be resolved today, but also the daily as well. And we have naturally seen the daily stochastic momentum pivot point come down significantly. Before it was, I think, well above $41,000, now coming down to almost $40,000 even, about $40,350, which is essentially the high of yesterday. So I do want to have all those numbers in mind, but basically I would be expecting, probably mostly sideways today, assuming that we don't see the validation for the range resolution, even in the medium term timeframes, which again, to the upside is 40,000. Hey, where's my damn thing? Oh, I put it to the side. But basically 40,500 to the upside on even an hourly closure, or below about 38,250 on an hourly closure, or if using a 4 hour, a couple $100 above that would probably be good enough, with a move back down around this blue box territory, which, by the way, would be a test still towards this rising trend line that we have been working off of on these higher lows. Below that region is where everything starts to flip around, at least in the way they look at things. And, the Boo laws no longer have really much going for them. They'll see all of the higher term time frame momentum turn down against it, plus an actual break for the last prior higher low. So you'd have a technical breakdown plus momentum turning against it. And we probably start to see volatility tick up as well. And that's going to initiate major targets to the downside, probably play out all of the bearish things that we see over on this chart over here. So until then, I do hate to say this, but probably going to be, more or less a boring day. And this is one of those times where, it's very reminiscent to me of 2018 and 2019, when things were very, very slow. Things were very, very boring. Ranges started to tighten up drastically. People were getting extremely excited about, very small percentage moves to the upside and very small percentage move to the downside. And realistically, Bitcoin was playing out of range for like 3 months fucking straight, right? And very little happened. Here's the thing, though. It's not that I would, but obviously market sentiment is much more on the bearish side right now. Or at least I see it around, and I'm curious to ask the community here as well if you see it around, or if you have an opinion on this. But when I go to crypto Twitter, when I go to crypto YouTube, which we can actually go look at soon enough here, and when I go to the fear and greed index, obviously the market is a lot more on the bearish side. So to me, it does look like the general participant in this market is of the same opinion essentially, and has been for a long time. If we reference the fear and greed index chart way back on over here, you can see that Bitcoin has basically been within the fearful zone for running on 3+ months now, basically since end of November. Only had a few stints into the neutral zone, which wasn't even the greedy zone, but just neutrality essentially. So ultimately, if we are going off sentiment, I do think that the market is a lot more weighted towards the downside, obviously, as you would expect after, basically a 50% move to the downside from all-time high or prior all-time highs. Anyways, I want to once again put the emphasis on the global open interest right here. We do see on the hourly data feed, it's still just barely above 10 billion. I set an alert yesterday to be aware and basically notified on my computer when it does go, if and when it does go below 10 billion, because I look at that as a bit of a reset area. So we've come very, very close to that already. Very, very close to that. So what is that essentially telling us? Essentially telling us that people are letting go of their leverage positions and essentially resetting this number, which is generally a good thing, more long term. And Bitcoin price action, is still within the process of operating at higher lows, to be fair. And, just kind of speaking off the cuff here, and this is something that I'm mostly a chart purist, but it is an interesting sort of thought experiment to mull over, especially on a day like today when things are more or less the same. What is a general scheme of what's going on in the world? Well, Bitcoin is, for what it's worth right now, studying it still on higher lows on the macro, above that last $30,000 macro cycle low, or sorry, not macro cycle, but macro range low from here, in comparison to our lows right here, amidst a pretty, diabolical background. We have, Ukraine-Russia war. It's not World War III, but Ukraine-Russia war is, still a big deal. Although World War III, I doubt anything's going to do too well. But hey, let's just pray that doesn't happen. We're talking about eight fucking rate hikes, which are being priced in. Which look, I'm not a fucking macro analyst. I'm not a part of the Fed. I highly doubt that there's going to be actually 8 rate hikes this year. Maybe 4, maybe 5. I think that could be relevant, as Bitcoin does have a little bit of a short-term rally right here. But the thing is that as soon as the Fed comes out and says, we're not going to do 8, but we're going to do 4 maybe, the market, as it has priced in 8 rate hikes, is going to rally off that, even though they are still raising rates. That's the way that things typically work. They get priced in as as that starts to get accepted into the general sort of sphere. On top of that, what else do we have? We had regulations. We had the executive order that Bitcoin was living through. We had a China ban that Bitcoin lived through. The more and more things that I look at, it's like, okay, what's if you're going to play the narrative, which is usually not the best idea, but if you are going to play the narrative, actually, barring like a World War III, I'm not so sure. It's like, what are they going to use to get this one down, at this point? And then on top of that, if we want to do a little bit of a fun action right here, and look, I don't know if this is wise for me to do, but hey, we can go over here to YouTube and check out people's titles, right? Check out people's titles, which, hey, might not be the best way of doing things, obviously, because I know that for myself, a lot of the time I will deliberately put in a contradictory title towards what my content is, but just perusing around the titles, for all of the biggest channels, crash, this person's talking about a crash, free fall, why isn't crypto going up, says Jason. Lessons from the past from this, from Cowan. Okay, this guy's actually bullish, but he's always bullish, so it doesn't count. Banter is sounding the alarm bells. I mean, they're always bullish, aren't they? Vladimir Putin created Bitcoin. Okay, that's Dan Pena. He also claims that he's killed a bear with his bare hands. So take that with a grain of salt, just saying. Yep, this person, whale crash as predicted. Okay, that's very interesting sentiments. This person, worse than expected. Yeah, so just, more setting up for another drop, emergency. We're seeing more and more of this stuff. Crypto's bearish. Game over. Game over, man. It's game over. Look, so I'm just saying that, it's a lot more... the market certainly, the sentiment of the market is certainly more on the bear side. There is absolutely zero doubt about that at all whatsoever. So I just wanted to kind of peruse around that, especially in a time like this where, I mean, look, I like being bearish. I trade better in a bearish environment. I don't see it just yet. I can definitely get there. Below $36,500, fuck yeah, man. Bearish as fuck. But I have these rules in place for myself because, well, I've been burnt in the past from, from getting bearish or bullish before it was really time to, and what price action was telling me. And always, fucking always, man, if there's the simplest thing that I could always, just impart onto anyone out there that has made me broke in the past, because I did not listen to it, would be this: trend. It's the most fucking simplest thing. Anyone can learn how to fucking identify a trend, and until we get a full-on trend reversal, or until we get some lower lows here, which we don't have just yet. We do have lower highs. We certainly have lower highs. We don't have lower lows just yet. However, I can't personally get there with my own strategy. So hopefully that was helpful on Bitcoin. There you go. Basically short-term bounce, and then see if it gets above any of the critical regions. Personally speaking, I'd be looking at the 5-day stochastic momentum. If it does validate to the upside above 39.6, then I would be looking at that as another indication that we're probably going to try some upside out of this range first, and that kind of makes those more sexy targets to the upside more relevant. So hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Bitcoin, sirs and zers. If I'm always a bull, does that mean I'm a simp? No, I don't think so. I think you're a simp like if you look. I really don't even know what an actual simp is. I think it's like an internet term that internet like cheesy fingered neckbeards call other people to make themselves feel good about themselves because they're a powerful mage who would never simp for a girl. It's like, what? Okay, like, okay. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point, man. We're talking about simps, all right? I'm a fucking simp, and I proudly wear my simp badge. Anyways, today for the Bitcoin price. Today for the Bitcoin price. Again, if Cryptos is listening to this, probably ain't. But actually, I really do like him. I consider him a friend. It's not an endorsement of his analysis or trading styles or anything like that. Just like him as a person. Oh man, my poop's gonna be flowing today with all that coffee. I'll tell you that. Okay, says Elsa. All right, I think we got some chats lined up over here. I'll just kind of work through these, and whenever we end. But I expect that this is probably gonna be a little bit of a shorter day. Anyways, Ricky O is first. Says, hey man, can you please spend some time on AVAX USD, AVAX BTC? Yeah, we could do that. I'd actually like to start off with the Bitcoin pairing here because I'm generally bearish on most Bitcoin pairings, but this is probably not going to be one of them. Actually, not bad right there. Ooh, okay, nice one. Let's see. Is there anything obvious right here? Yeah, volatility coming down significantly. So this one's setting up for a big bad move. Still got higher lows on this one as well. All right, do I have a chart on this one? No, I don't. Okay, here we have AVAX versus Bitcoin, actually. We'll do AVAX versus the dollar as well, as requested by Mr. Ricky O. And I want to do a general overview on this one, as it is, well, it's actually hanging out rather high here comparatively to most things versus their Bitcoin pairing. Now, in general, I'm actually very bearish versus most assets versus Bitcoin. This would not be one of them, at least for right now. I could get bearish on this one, but I'd have to see this one trade below about what is this, 17,350, and close a higher term time frame below there. At that point, yes, I do look for big retracements down to 13,500 or so Satoshis in the following weeks. Until then, still see higher lows. I would validate this as your next major, even macro low, with continuation back up towards prior all-time highs in this case, with any sort of a, let's go down to a daily actually. With any sort of a daily actually, yeah, above about 21,500 in this case, I would be looking for a retest of your highs in the following week or two. And then long term, you know, probably does work its way towards new all-time highs after a bit of a pullback from there. So as far as the Bitcoin pairing goes, that's essentially the range as I see it right now. We do see that there are several things saying that a humongous move, an emergency urgent move perhaps is coming as well, as we do see daily BBWP is on the floor, and it's been on the floor for a long time, as is the weekly as well. So we are looking for a range resolution here, very likely this month. You know, keep in mind that these are higher term timeframes, but if it does come to the upside, extremely likely you're going to see, you know, decently new all-time highs. In this case, I could plot out a few targets upon validation of that as a macro low, which would be, you know, into the 30,000 Satoshi region, probably even more over time. By the same token, to the downside, I'd be looking at a bounce at 13,500, and probably just that, a bounce before continuation back down to 10,000-ish or so. Per speaking though, for right now, I do lean towards the upside longer term, just because, well, it has been one of the better actors. If you go over here to the US dollar valuation, you can also see that it's holding up relatively well compared to most things in this market. That's, you know, still that does imply that if Bitcoin gets any upside movement, this one very likely does outperform to the upside. And to the downside, you know, I don't think it's going to be immune from Bitcoin's movement as well. But the same sort of range resolutions for a major breakout in this case do apply towards the US dollar valuation. Below the last local low, or sorry, below the last major low on this format was $69, or sorry, is it 69? $69.5. Anywhere, any sort of a daily closure below there, I do look at this as a range resolution with targets back down towards the bottom end of this blue box, which is in the mid to, about the mid $50 region, about $56 to $57. By the same token, I do look at any sort of a move back of about 95.25 as a range resolution to the upside, perhaps front runnable above about $90.5. That last rejected high that we saw in late February in this case, with targets back up towards your prior glories in early January. So that would be about a $1.10 to a $1.15 region weekly. Again, still holding it relatively well here, but again, you know, if Bitcoin breaks down, this one's going to break down with it. The thing is, however, is that you are very close to confirming another drive of hidden bullish divergence. If this does confirm as a local low right here, what would be the earliest point to be able to do that on a weekly? That would be with a weekly above 78.25. If you see that by Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, that'd be a really good indication that the probability is going to be massively increased. In fact, I'd even say that they're front runnable in my opinion for a move back up towards $100, which obviously has greater implications more long term. If we go over here into our momentum oscillator from a stochastic perspective, we do see 5-day will turn back up today, in fact, assuming that it does close either here or higher. So that pivot is at 73.50 cents. So this is a good example of why I really love this indicator, because you can see it's pointing down right now. It actually looks rather hefty, but we actually are more than $1 above the upside pivot. So that would be a good signal as well. Daily will turn up above about 77.69 in this case. And I do have this nice little trend line coming in right around here. So it might take another day, or which that number will very likely come down as well. If we go over to the weekly, this one's also coming off extremes here too, and will be remaining with upside as long as this one's trading above $71. So I do favor the upside, actually, believe it or not. If we go over here into the 4-hour time frame, I see another higher low. You know, I see, well, I don't see anything else that's super super imposing other than that. But ultimately, if we do see a 4-hour closure above the last sort of range high here, which is about 79 and a half or so, I would be looking for another retest back into the bottom side of this blue box territory here. Obviously, that has great implications for the higher term timeframes. You're going to see momentum muscles turn around as well, greatly increase the probabilities that it does have an upside resolution. So again, that's all contingent upon, the fact that it just doesn't hit the downside invalidation, which again, it's about 69 and a half. So with that said, hopefully that was helpful for AVAX, and there you go, sir. Awesome, man. All right, Capatika's next. He's going to be looking at Luna 4-hour and daily. Sure. This one, did it make a new all-time high yesterday? Let me just sip on this. Close. Let's see. Did it make a new all-time high, actually? Let's see. Prior high was 106 and a quarter. Current high from yesterday, or sorry, high from 2 days ago was 104.85. Still never a bad thing retesting prior all-time highs, but I do expect that this one does probably trade a little bit sideways and down from here. Not a death sentence in any way, shape, or form. Then again, I look at the weekly. Maybe a short-term pullback yet again. Kind of already got that earlier this week. You know what? We did a video on this one on Monday, I believe. Holy shit, we hit that pullback just about perfectly. God damn. I don't know. Should we follow up on this one? Should we not follow up on this one? Let me finish my coffee first, and then we'll figure it out. There we go, baby. There we go. And I guess I don't have my water today, but you know what? Don't need it. Okay, cool. Maybe I do need it, yeah. Anyways, you are looking at a 4-hour and a daily. Okay, looking at a 4-hour right here, you do have a bit of a... you do have a bit of a range going on, right? And it is a consolidation at the highs, which is typically a good thing, but, it does need to be said that, hey, the second that you start to break below basically this last local low here, which is about 93.69 or so, I do look for this one to come down to the $87 to $88 region. Until then, you could argue that that this one is wedging itself into a bit of a reaccumulation formation. I think that things become a lot more interesting on the daily and weekly here, actually. The daily... could we be looking at maybe one more pullback before another try to the upside? Definitely possible. If this does confirm as a local high, you will have a couple drives of bearish divergence here. So that brings in the question, what would constitute as a local high? Well, at minimum, a daily closure below about 93, 92 bucks, somewhere right around there. That obviously likely coincide with the 4-hour time frame having a range resolution below that $93 region on a closing basis that we just spoke about. So probably front runnable in that case. Probably comes back down around mid 80s after that if that were to happen. Here's the thing though, the weekly is not really giving me that look, in fact. And to be fair, we did get the pullback that we were looking for early this week down to the 382, actually between the 382 and the 0.5 right there. And the response was about as good as you can get, which is kind of crazy. 5 days closing today. It's about to close as a bullish engulfing. I'm going to go out on a limb here, man. I might have a short-term pullback, but I am actually looking for this one to probably make new ultimas this month. All of these are bullish here. I mean, look at this, man. Hidden bullish divergence off that last low. Volatility is about to go into an expansion phase. 5-day is already there, so I'm probably gonna front run that weekly call. And 5-day has multiple drives of hidden bullish divergence here. I'm just getting back to the bullish control zone. I think this one's making new all-time highs, man. Assuming that it closes a 5-day above about basically here, 96 and a half, 97 bucks would probably be good. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Luna. Matador MC, what's up, man? Hey, all good, brother, all good. And dude, I'm very glad to hear that, man. Very glad to hear that. But thank you, man. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Let's see. Peace Mind says, can you run down Luna? We literally just did it. Yes, I'm literally doing it right now, sir. Elsa does not listen. Hey. It's like the character from Zelda. Hey, loving the Jewel Light so far, and hey, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're liking that. That's excellent. Yeah, we just did Luna, so all good there. You did ask for an hourly. I didn't really cover an hourly, but I'm actually looking for a short-term bounce here. Speaking of the Jewel, you're kind of in a bouncy region coming off that fib right there, but it's not really a signal. What is almost a signal is hidden bullish divergence, but needs to close here or higher end of hour, which is 15 minutes and 54 seconds. Short-term target up to just under 98 bucks or so. Another higher low as well. Not bad. Anyways. Let me scroll back up on over here, and I think it's Sean Waller next. Says Bitcoin USD short. What is everyone's obsession with this bullshit over here on Finex? Look, Finex does not have it doesn't have the weight that it once did, in my opinion. Yeah, they're going up. What do you make of that? Well, if we're going to make anything of this, we need to juxtapose this against a Bitcoin chart, right? In order to see if it has any, any relationship. So maybe I hold my breath until we do that, and then I can start to talk shit. Where's the comparison? Wait, what the fuck? Did they get rid of the compare symbol? These bastards. Oh my God. They got rid of the comparison. God damn it, TradingView, you pieces of shit. Like, seriously, the people who work at TradingView, they definitely do not trade. Okay, here we go. Here it is. All right, maybe they do, and I just missed it right there. My apologies. TradingView, if you're listening, I apologize. I didn't mean it. Anyways, let's do it like this. Let's put on log. Okay, so when shorts are... all right, so when shorts are relatively high, we actually do see Bitcoin put in lows. So the question is, are shorts relatively high? Not yet, no. But I would mark off a few areas here, actually. So that would be this area. Let me get rid of this. Man, that's been a long time ago I put that in. I'd put in this right here. I'd put in this right here. But you can see it kind of stayed high there for a long time. Thank you. Thank you, dear. But these are at extremes right here. We're not really at extremes just yet. I do think that it could go a little bit higher, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting to look at, especially on kind of a boring day like today. It is interesting to look at, but I don't think it's in an area where I'd comfortably say, yeah, definitely that's your extreme region. No, our extremes have come from, a lot higher. And in this case, it looks like we've seen an accumulation of shorts and they're going up. No, you know what I mean though. Probably comes up a little bit higher before that becomes like a like a real issue. But yeah, interesting, I guess. But not relevant for right now, in my opinion. Anyways, on the hour, you want to look at it on the hourly. Sir, you can't look at those things on the hourly, man. It's irrelevant in my opinion. You want to be looking at it on a higher term time frame to kind of get a general gauge of where those positions are in relationship to the general trend. That's where you want to know, because then you can figure out the pain points, and that way it actually can be quite useful. If you see a lot of shorts go up and then there's like a higher low at somewhere in the vicinity, that's going to be a big pain point, obviously. There he is, Josh. Ethereum, Bitcoin, daily and weekly. Yeah, let's record a video on this one too. Last time I looked at it, we were looking at a move back down around the prior lows. We've gotten that move and now getting a bounce. So might as well record this one, I guess. Here we have Ethereum, Bitcoin. We'll also look at Ethereum US dollar as well. We did a video on this one earlier this week, and we were looking for a downside target of, 6.45 million Satoshis. We have hit that target this week, it looks like, and short-term bounces very likely do get initiated from here. I do think that this one can bounce a little bit more towards 6.8 million, maybe even as much as 6.9 million in a more aggressive move here. But ultimately, the lower highs do rule this one. So I personally will not be bullish on this one until I at minimum see a daily closure back up about 7.14 million Satoshis. Until then, I'm looking for something, similar to this. And again, this is not to say the same thing will happen on the US dollar pair, and we'll look at that soon enough, but something like that, and then very likely comes back down. It is a descending triangle, so there would be a technical target upon validation, very specifically below 6.45 million Satoshis on a daily closure, nothing less. And that will have targets down to 5.7 million Satoshis, which is, quite the move right there. On top of that, that would be directly in line with the monthly 21 exponential moving average, which would be a natural target based off of the bearish divergence that we saw in the monthly from here to here. That would be this high versus this high thus far. So I do think that that's still relevant, actually, as this one does kind of lose its long-term structure. Looking at a 5-day, looking at a weekly, short-term bouncy, assuming that the bounce doesn't get above any of the invalidation regions. I'm just looking for another bounce get rejected and come back down. If it does get back above, let's just even call it like 7.1 million Satoshis, I would be looking for a nice move back up towards your February highs, actually, all the way up towards 7.5 million Satoshis. That's going to negate and invalidate the potential downside setup, obviously, long term. So I'd still kind of look at it in the same vein right there. Short-term bouncy, long-term not great. Let's look at the dollar valuation, however, and I'm kind of the same opinion on most altcoins in the sense that, most altcoins I do think versus their Bitcoin parent are going to be trending sideways and down for a while. based off the Bitcoin dominance chart. In this case, Ethereum USD. If I was just looking at this chart in comparison to Bitcoin, I'd be a lot more readily bearish in the sense that, obviously this chart actually looks a lot more similar to the Bitcoin pairing chart rather than Bitcoin USD, to be fair. We do have a slew of lower highs right here. Short term, can we see a bounce back up even towards like just under 2,900? Yeah, absolutely. But lower highs all the way through as long as you're below about $3,000. So I'd look at that as a major invalidation region. It'd be the same thing as Bitcoin back above, especially like 42,500. So again, Bitcoin probably easier to watch in this case. But if that were to happen, I would be looking first for a move back up towards 3,400 and then probably, probably a pullback there, and then very likely continuation on the weekly towards the deep 3,000s, 3,800, very, very likely, if that were to happen. Until then, Ethereum USD on its own, not very strong. Bitcoin, however, if it does start to validate above its critical regions, first 42,500 would be, the next big one for the daily. And then obviously $45,000, no more questions asked, at least as far as I'm concerned. You're very likely going to see Ethereum do a move like that, but on its own, where's the downside resolution here? Any sort of a daily closure below that last low, which is just under 2,500, very likely going to retest your wick lows from basically low 2,000s. I'm talking like 2,200 or so. And at that point, at that point, this one very likely breaks down like significantly long term. Very likely heading towards the mid 1,000s, maybe even lower than that. But in this case, I do think that Bitcoin is just an easier one to look at, and that would essentially coincide with Bitcoin below about 36,500. If you see that, you're probably going to see something like that on Ethereum as well, basically initiating that move first towards about 2,200. Very likely a bounce there. That bounce probably just a bounce before major continuation to 1,500, to somewhere between about 13 to 1,500, somewhere back down around here, essentially, more longer term. Until then, I give the Bulas a chance here simply because, well, not necessarily for Ethereum's sake, but more or less for Bitcoin in this case. Even a 4-hour closure back above that last rejective high that you saw a couple days ago at 2,750 would be a good short-term, would be like a good short-term green flag for at least another try up towards about 2,850 to 2,900. Obviously, that can bleed into the other higher-term timeframes, but as long as below 3,000, it's just lower highs, and that's all I have to say about that. Maybe we could just briefly look at it from this perspective, just to see if there's anything obvious here. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Weekly stochastic momentum is is going to be turning down yet again, assuming that it closes below 27.37 Sunday. 5-day closing tonight will turn down below about 2,700. Not looking too hot, Ethereum, and daily remains down as long as it's below 26.76. So, tough one for Ethereum right there. Again, I do put the emphasis on Bitcoin. If you see Bitcoin make those moves, you're probably going to see Ethereum buck the trend and try some upside. Hopefully that was helpful. And there you go for Ethereum, sir. Cool. All right, let me just let me see what we got right here. Oh my God, man, lots of messages. BK says MRI versus Ethereum. All right, MRI versus ETH over here. What the Marshall Rogan Inu? Sounds like a scam. Looks pretty good. Sounds like a scam though. Sounds like a scam, man. Jesus Christ. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know if this is this a real chart? What is Marshall? Isn't that like the name of Joe Rogan's dog? Is am I God, this market's so fucking crazy. I actually would be looking for a bounce here. Crazy as that sounds. I only get bearish below 306,000 butyrols, but look, I don't trust anything. I really don't trust analysis on something like this. But if I was looking at it just as it is, I see, multiple drives of bullish divergence, low volatility, probably trying next move up towards almost 500,000, or probably more like mid 450,000 butyrols. Bearish below that last wick low on 8th of March right there, but I really don't trust them like this, man. I do think it probably tries another upside move from there short term for what it's worth, but ain't worth much in my opinion. Yeah, great. What the fuck? I'm pretty sure this is. It is Marshall Rogan Inu. I'm pretty sure that's the name of Joe Rogan's dog. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is. What the actual fuck, man? What the fuck? It's one of the better charts we've seen today, so fair enough. Is there? There's got to be a Putin coin, man. There's got to be. Hey, what's up, Gabor? Dear Krown, please have my shekels and have a good day. Hey, man, you have a good day as well, man. Thank you for that, brother. Mylene Gomes says FTM on the hourly and 4 hour. Yes. Let's check this one out. Marshall Rogan eating what? What are they gonna think of next? Going lower or put in a local low, asking for all looking to buy the dip. If it's done, then yeah, we've already, okay, so we have not done this one. This one's very interesting because it's obviously relatively weak, and I understand that the one of the developers, they left the project, or multiple of the developers left the project. So in these cases, I mean, look, is the low in, is if that's what you're asking, I would certainly not feel comfortable saying that. This looks like a rounded top. This looks like distribution over the past almost 6 months now, actually more than 6 months. Yes. I would say unlikely, but if you're on the very short-term timeframes like you are on the hourly and 4 hour, do I think that you have a local low right here? Well, I'd be expecting some bullish divergence. So you do have a little bit on the hourly. You do have some on the 4 hour as well. Won't be confirmed until you confirm this is a local low. How'd you confirm this is a local low? I mean, actually would have to get back about 128 in this case, which is not helpful, and I understand that. So I don't think I have a helpful analysis on this one, man. I do think that in general, you're probably going to bounce from this area, whether it be like right here at 114 or a little bit lower at about 110. I don't really have a strong opinion on. This one's going to get absolutely fucking shredded, though, if Bitcoin breaks down. If Bitcoin pops up, probably not going to, have that much of a move. I think at best, maybe like 130 short term. But yeah, man, I don't think I have a helpful opinion on this one because it is more event driven. The weekly's ugly as all hell. Any sort of a weekly closure below like 130 and, make that about $1.25. And I'm just looking at this as a massive distribution in this region and very likely getting ready for a major move to the downside. But if I had to call it right now, I do think short-term bounce, if you're on the hourly, I would not feel comfortable saying anything on the higher term time frame. Look, if Bitcoin breaks down, this thing's coming down hard and very likely back down to somewhere between about 55 to 65 cents long term, if that were to happen. I mean, that's like something terribly wrong has gone here, and I'm guessing this is the one where like the developers left or something like that. That this would look like a chart where that has happened. Jamie Aguirre says, "Hola, mi amor. Hola, mi amigo. Thoughts about all the short? Man, a lot of people are on this one right now. The Bitcoin USD short. Yeah, I really don't. I don't have much to say about that as of its current stance. If that does continue up to, we can just go back there very briefly here, I guess. I do feel kind of silly looking at it, but hey, might as well, man. I guess today would be the day to do something like this. Maybe if it gets back to like 6,500 or so, that's where I'd say it would be relatively high. Obviously, higher is better. It does somewhat correlate well to major downside, major upside when we do see get to extremes, but it's just not extremes here yet. I need to see it get somewhere around here at minimum before I say that it's at extremes. Steve Kalovic, Waves USD and 4 hour daily and 4 hour premium user. Nice, man. Awesome. Side note, massive 29,000 Bitcoin outflow a few hours ago. Any importance? Let's go check it out. So you are referencing this data over here on the flows. Was it derivatives or was it derivatives on the hourly? So no, it was not on this. Was it on this? You're talking about this, I'm guessing. This, yeah, about 30,000 outflows right there. I really don't know. I really don't know. Okay, what was this over here? This was 48. This one over here, a big one as well, and about 35 and 47 right there. So these were, yeah, this would be comparatively a big outflow. Where did this happen? This happened after the big bear trap of July. This one did get major continuation from that region after that outflow. So yes, in this case over here, same thing happened on the $40,000 low in September. Again, did trade a little bit further south from there, but that ended up being a major low. I don't know what to make out of it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I have a good opinion on that. I I don't think I have an opinion at all on that. I don't know what to make of it. Let's see. Anyways, you are looking at, what was it again? Waves. Okay, waves. Remember we looked at this one earlier this week, but I forget what it was like. Maybe it was, yeah, it was one of the ones that was actually rallying. Very interesting. Okay, cool. Let's see. I remember we made a chart for this one. Is this the chart? This looks old to me. All right, well, anyways, let's see. Where are we on the grand scheme of things? Retesting around prior highs. I would be looking for a pullback here. This is very similar to the, what was the other chart that we looked at? Luna. Very similar to the Luna chart here. So after Luna made that move to the prior highs, we were looking for a pullback. Where did that pullback come towards? Towards the, whoops, I'm doing this wrong. Towards the 382, between the 382 and the 0.5. So I do think that this one very likely pulls back from here, or maybe one more try to the upside, but ultimately very likely pulls back before any sort of major continuation of new highs, assuming that it does begin with. And I'll be looking at a pullback target somewhere between about 21 and 24 bucks after that. So basically that is to say, I'm not too confident on whether it has one more drive to the upside or not. Could very easily have one more retest of that $31 high, but ultimately I'm looking for a pullback from this region down towards 21 to 24. That's at the point where I'd be looking for it to put in a higher low and give another try to the upside long term if it is going to indeed do some busting action to new highs, which I'm guessing something fundamental has happened here, because this chart is by and far away different than almost every chart that we've seen today besides Luna, which obviously is one of the better charts as well. So long term, I am looking for this one to actually retest prior all-time highs. Short to medium term, maybe one more drive up, but very likely a pullback down to the mid to low 20s, and then that drive very likely happens, if it's going to happen at all. There he is, Jack Assman. Good morning to you, man. Gold daily weekly, yes. Okay. You already know my opinion on the higher term time frame, still bullish there, assuming nothing drastically nasty has happened. What do you know? Sold off on the prior test of its all-time high. What do you know? Very, very likely. In this case, I'd actually be doing the same thing here as I just did for, I keep on wanting to say Phantom, but no, it's not Phantom, it's Luna and Waves. And I would be looking for, okay, not this one, I want the pullback targets. I'd be looking for a pullback from this region, little bit more probably after another bounce here. I think you're going to do something like this, probably another bounce into another lower high, and then find the next major higher low somewhere between about 1910 and 1950 or so. And at that point, we'd expect a higher low, and then for it to curl back around as Bitcoin trades back above 39,000 bucks. Hey, not bad. But ultimately, long term, I do still look for this one to basically continue on to new all-time highs into end of year. But if you're just looking at the daily and weekly, short-term bouncy, very likely does have another bounce here short-term. I think somewhere around 2025 to 2040 region. Very likely puts in a lower high there, and then you get the real retracement. That's where I'd be looking for a higher low on a weekly. So as always, gold moves very, very slowly. It takes a lot of patience. That's why I don't have any time for this, but hey, man, if you do, more power to you. And I would still actually be massively bullish long term, into like end of year probably. Anyways, let's see what else we have here. Okay, what's up, Solvereign? Book tip, Craig Biddle, Loving Life. Loving Life, huh? Sounds interesting. I'll just write that down over here. We just have to see what we. Okay. I'm always looking for new books, man. Always also mind checking out GDX case. These are gold miners here. Or at least I believe they are. Yes, it's a miners ETF. That's right. Yeah, as you'd expect, it is bullish here. Daily and weekly. Probably saying something very similar to what I just said on gold itself. I'd be looking for maybe one more push higher. If it gets another push higher, somewhere around 40 to 41 bucks. But I am looking for a pullback after that. And the pullback from that region is where I'm looking for, after the pullback from that region, I'm looking for a higher low, somewhere between about 35.5 to 37 bucks. And from there, I'd be looking for long-term continuation. But I think the real question is, am I generally bullish on this one? Yeah. And I am looking for this one to retest prior all-time highs, maybe end of this month, probably next month in April. And long-term, I mean, this is an uptrend, and this is a reversal, and this is a MAC reversal, and we're about to see volatility expand on the monthly alongside hidden bullish divergence of multiple drive variety. And even the monthly Jewel is actually having a really good signal here as well, with Cyan plus DMI support, and also bouncing off the fib right there. I'm quite bullish on this. So yeah. Mr. Dr. Roscoe says KDA weekly and monthly. Okay, I don't know if there's gonna be much of a monthly on this one. but might as well see first. Yeah, that's not really helpful. Maybe CoinX, still not very helpful. I actually do think that's put in a major low right here. I believe we looked at this one at the beginning of the week, and I said the same thing, and I'd be saying the same thing right here as well. Daily closure today above about what is this? What is 769 or so? And I'd be looking for this one to retest your range highs from 8th of February at about 10 and a quarter or so. Again, daily BBWP turning up. It's put another higher low right here. It's already retesting your prior high, so very likely going to be a confirmation of a short-term reversal on the daily. I think that this one's actually put in a macro low right here. I think the weekly is about to give you a big move up in the next few weeks, somewhere around about 13, 14 bucks, to be honest with you. Weekly Jewel has lost its downside curvature, now curling back up. As soon as I see that thing get cyan with a BBWP read like this, I'm looking for that to continue upwards and onwards. Again, I do think that most of this market is in for at least a bounce, and I mean, if I'm just giving my personal opinion, I actually do think that things are put in a low here. It's just me. Obviously, I have my invalidations and whatnot, but just giving my opinion out on that, for better or worse. Anyways, Ultimate Gandhi says 30 to 69,000 bull flag. Let's not get too crazy here. No, not really. But fucked up bull flag, man. If that's a bull flag, but I do look if anything, it would be like one massive ascending triangle, which is a reaccumulation formation. And again, I'm not a big fan of formations in general, but triangles, descending and ascending, seem to work out quite well, particularly on cryptos. But yeah, I'd be looking at something like this. There, I don't see a. I mean, a bull flag goes like this. It's downwards curved like that. This would be an ascending triangle, if anything, if I'm just going to be splitting hairs, but not a big deal, man. Anyways, Mr. A, oh, sorry, actually I skipped Mr. Dr. Colossus. Hello, sir. Can you check out XRP? I have a colossal greatsword, actually, and I have two of them as well. Two of them, very powerful, and I have just enough endurance to wield them both while wearing heavy armor. That's right. Pussies will be getting very wet right now. Just wait till I take on the fire giant a little bit later tonight. Oh, man. XRP 1 and 4 hour. All right. Again, another higher low, man. I'm looking at a lot of these things to carry on these bounces. XRP probably back up to 77 cents. Hourly, same thing. Short term, more like 75, 76 cents. But yeah, volatility up. Another higher low. I'm looking for trend continuation here on the short-term timeframes. Any sort of a validation back above about 77 cents, and I'll look for the range highs to get tested from early March, 80 cents or so. Not bad. Mr. FA says, hey, sir, thoughts on PYR 4-hour and daily 5-day on KuCoin for full history? Okay, got it. Thank you for specifying the exchange. I know that this one has like a weird history. I started to scale in, looking for a short-term bounce. There is some very bullish fundamentals coming in April. Oh, bullish fundamentals, you say? Wow. Sounds incredible. Why does the chart look like shit then? Those fundamentals, man, sorry, man, I'm not talking shit about you. It's just, I see this all the time. It's like, I saw this all the time in 2018. It's like, why is everything down? The fundamentals have never been better. It's like, what is the fundamentals of a product, of a thing that has no product? I'm not saying that this doesn't have a product. I don't even know. I don't know if it does. But I am looking for short-term upside, back up to like 975, 980 or so. That's just relevant for like a 4-hour daily. Obviously, you got your lower highs riding below about 12 and a quarter. So I'm always going to be bearish as long as you're kind of doing something like that. But that, does mean that you can have a nice little rally back around there. 5-day. Look, if Bitcoin gets back above its critical regions, again, that being about $44,500, you're going to see this one get above its critical region as well, very likely, which is 15 and a quarter. And you are very likely going to see a major move to the upside from there, 24, maybe as much as $30 in the following weeks. But for right now, it's not one of the stronger charts, I'd say. But if we do see Bitcoin obviously validate above those regions, you're very likely going to see this one do the same thing. Short term, however, I'm looking for a rally here, about 970 to 980 or so. Ooh. Sorry. Anyways, Ultimate Gandhi, are we all doomed? Well, no, man. Your best hedge against anything happening in the markets is just knowing how to trade, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like, this channel is focused on traders first and foremost. So we don't really care what direction Bitcoin actually goes in. You know, just need to be able to trade it, which as long as things are moving, there's always an opportunity. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, things are easier in an upside market, but holy shit. What is that noise outside? Are we getting bombed? Oh, it's a washer. All right. Well, this is definitely one of the weakest charts we've seen today. While most things in this market are bouncing on the short term, this one is not participating. Weekly, awful. Probably maybe tries for one more bounce. I think best it does the upside is like 33 to 34 cents. 4 hour, ugly as fuck. Another drive of hidden bearish divergence, probably down first, if anything, 28 cents. Long term down, man. This is ugly as fuck. Ugly as fuck, man. Very likely coming down long term. There's not really a whole hell of a lot of long term to be looking at here, but I think this one's coming down to like low 20 cents over the next couple months. Pretty ugly chart. Pretty ugly chart. Don't know what the fuck this thing is, but short term, very, very short term, one more test of the downside. Probably tries for another bounce there though. I think best it does the upside again. It's like mid 30s. I would only call an invalidation and upside and like major upside long term if this one gets back above about 45 cents. Until then, I think one of the worst charts we've seen today actually. Thing is that on the daily, it's gonna be very easy to create some drives of bullish divergence soon. So there very likely is a nice bounce coming soon, but very likely just that, a bounce before continuation of general shitcoin trend to the downside. Saul Paulino says, have you seen the pool multiple indicator? Yeah, actually, I used to use it quite a fair bit back in 2018. I haven't looked at it since then, really. I forget even, is it on TradingView? Let me see if it's on TradingView. It's the Puel multiple, right? Yeah. Might as well try it. Yeah, I still have it favorited here. I think we look at the weekly on this one. Is that right? It's quite low, but it can always go lower, and we are not at extreme levels that Bitcoin has seen in the past. So, if you're looking for that to be an indication of like, oh, the bottom's in, I don't think that would constitute for that, as is right now. It's just not at those levels just yet. Fire Mochi says VRA USD daily. Okay, this is Veracity. Okay. VRA, USD, Bittrex. Again, weak on its own. Very weak on its own. I'd call a short-term reversal above about 2.5 cents with targets back up towards 3.3, 3.2 region. Other than that, look, if Bitcoin turns up here, this one's going to do the same thing as well, but it's not strong on its own. 4 hour time frame, weak. Again, I'm feel like I'm feeding you hopium, man. Any sort of a closure at all below 1.8 cents, this thing's going to be sent back down, likely where it belongs, at about a cent and a quarter. Sorry, I'm sounding very pompous and like an asshole. I do apologize. Look, I shouldn't have any opinion on this as a thing. It's just whatever Bitcoin does, this one's going to follow. Above 2.5 cent, good. Looking for big moves up towards 3.3, 3.4, maybe even more over time. Things really get crazy, like 4.5. Any sort of a closure below 1.8, very bad. Very likely major continuation. Very likely going to see 1.4 to 1.25 region over the following weeks. Yeah. Again, Bitcoin moves up, you're probably going to see it at those levels. Crypto Moo, HDRN. What the fuck is this? What is this, man? Hedron. It trades on you. God damn it, man. 4 hour daily. Sir, there's no fucking daily to analyze on an asset that's been around for 2 weeks, man. Come on, you know better than this. 4 hour, short-term down, looking for it to come back down to 39,400. Probably short-term bounce there and maybe continuation of like 33,000. There's no daily analysis on something like this. Barely even a 4 hour, probably more like an hourly is relevant here. So just again, the reason why I say this is because I don't have a useful opinion on something that's this new. I need more history, certainly for the daily. Probably does bounce off that lower level though. But yeah, I don't have anything to say other than that. Cool. Gringenstein says FTM 3 hour, 3 day and 7 day. Yeah, we we already looked at that one. Again, I don't think I have a useful opinion on this one. It's, there's something weird going on here. I do think short term, you're probably setting up for a bit of a short term bounce, but I just don't have a good opinion on this one, man. I apologize, but I'd rather keep my mouth shut than say something stupid in this regard, just to say some. I know that that's not maybe necessarily what you want to hear, but I just don't think I have a good opinion on this chart. Short term, I do think a little bit of a bounce. Any bounce that, anything below your $2 lower high is just another lower high. I think if things get like a nice decent bounce, probably best it does the upside is like 155 to 160. Other than that, I'd probably hesitate on saying anything else. Frivolous says what? Oh, Cat's Incredulous says, Krown, can you please do Everdome? If you could include a ticker, that would be very useful, but I'll just type it in. Oh my God, it's a crypto, and it trades on OKX. And it's barely been around, and he gave no time frame, but it's okay, man. I'm just going to make it up. I'm going to do a 4-hour and hourly, because that's about as best as I can do on something that's this new. We've already looked at waves a couple times, fellows. Not a great chart for what it's worth. I'd call a bit of a reversal, only with a 4-hour back above about 5.2 cent. Until then, it's very new. I just don't have a useful analysis on something like this. I do think short term, you probably try another short term bounce. Anywhere back around 4.9 to 5 cent is fair game, but it's just another lower high as well at the same time. So it's like short term bounces likely lead towards continuation. I would call the reversal above 5.1 cent on a 4-hour closure, with targets back up towards your February highs at basically just under 6 cent. And for the downside, I'd call major continuation to new lows below about 4.5 cent on a 4-hour closure. Probably, about 4.5 cent. Looking for this one to retest after that, somewhere around 4 cent even. Quite nasty. But very, very not strong on its own, I'd say. But again, just not enough history to really analyze on something like this, man. I know that's, again, not that helpful, but I'm not going to make it up on this one, man. If anything, it's just another lower high, really. Very weak on its own. Any sort of downside on Bitcoin, this one's going to get shredded, but upside on Bitcoin, this one probably tests that next region that we spoke about. Let's see. Kyle McDonald says, Deuteronomy. What's up, man? ZIL USD on the daily. Okay. Know that this one definitely does have a daily, so that's good. Binance, daily, and let's see. Here's the thing. You will actually have hidden bearish divergence on the daily if it does confirm a local high here. It actually has not done that just yet. The only way to do that would be, the earliest way to do that would be with a 4-hour closure below 4 cents. At that point, I would be looking for, at minimum, another retest around your lows at 3 3/4. Does that set it up for an actual breakdown? Well, with the daily closure below there, yes, absolutely it would. And that would have a major targets down towards about 3 even or so. Until then, most things in this market, I think, have one more shot to the upside. This one, where's your range resolution on a 4-hour closure? That'd be 4.5 cent with targets back up towards 4.8, maybe even 5 cents. Does that do anything for the daily? Not really. Daily doesn't really switch around until you're back up about 5.8 cents, but again, just easier to watch Bitcoin. This one's weak on its own, though. So any sort of downside on Bitcoin, this one gets shredded as well. But I suspect one more try to the upside. See if it gets above any one of those crazy areas. If things really get, if they get above any one of those critical regions. If they do, probably have another nice rally up, 5 cents ish region, something like that. I think best it does to the upside long term. If the market got like a major reverse, would be 6.5 to 7 cents. Long term, this is not a great chart. Can you do suck me, sir? Says, can you suck me, sir? Says, suck me, sir, please. Says, can you do EGLD instead of waves? Okay, sure. EGLD. Elrond, man, whatever happened to this piece of highly esteemed technology? No one asked about this anymore. Again, looks like it's putting in a bit of a short-term low. 4-hour time frame probably extends around a little bit more towards $1.50, maybe $1.50 2.5 or so. I would call a major low actually on this one with a daily back above a buck 168.5 with targets back up towards your early February highs at about 200 to 210. Until then, you know, look, if this one actually does start to trade above about $200, that would be the same thing as Bitcoin back above $45,000. These are the same areas essentially, and I would be looking for extreme continuation of the upside from there, 269 to 270ish region. Until then, where's validation of major downside continuation? Anywhere below yesterday's low, 132, and at that point, this one probably gets sent back down to the gutter at 110ish region. Until then, you know, it's kind of the same thing as what I've said on most of these charts. Short term, gets one more try to the upside. Let's see if it gets above those critical regions. If it does, continuation targets in mind. If it doesn't, then lower highs in mind. Cool. All right. Okay, we got that. Frivolous says, one request, outro song, Xmas Candle moving up. Oh, I need to put that on this computer. I don't think I actually have it here right now, but yeah, we can bring that back around, give a bit of diversity there. Echo, that's a good name. Suck me, sir. Suck me, sir. Suck my penis, please. Like, so formal. Echo Zien says Nexo. Yeah, that always reminds me of American Pie. Suck me beautiful. Like what? Nexo versus Ethereum. Says Echo Zien. All right, it's a interesting pair, but I guess we can look at it. It's got a chart, so we can look at it, I suppose. Not bad, bullish. Actually, quite bullish here. This one's looking at a major. This actually might be even a major low right here. Yeah, I do think that it is in the constructive, or sorry, it is constructing that right now. What would confirm it as a major low would be, Jesus Christ, man, this is, Wiki is all, God damn, this is, you know, you don't need to trade this thing, but I would be looking at this as a macro low. I'd be looking at this as a macro low above 940, and on the daily right here, I think that you're actually about to complete this as a nice formation, which will have a technical target probably above that region. Yeah, yeah, well, towards 1050 to 1069 or so. So that would be a range resolution right there, and be long-term up. This is generally a bullish chart long-term as well. So I'm actually quite bullish on this one. I think that you put in a macro low right here, honestly. And I'd only invalidate that below 695, 700, that is. Until then, I'm quite bullish on this. I think that you're putting in literally a macro low right here and probably working your way sideways and up from here, over the long period of time. Yeah, close them chats, sir. Chris says, XLM daily, weekly. Oh man, stellar, huh? People still look at Stellar, headed for Mad Max Thunderdome if all markets swan dive. Oh, I mean, you know, if everything swan dives, I mean, certainly this one will be going down with it as well, or extremely likely, I should say. You know, nothing's certain, right? But on its own, weak, on its own, very, very weak. Definitely among some of the weaker charts we've seen today. But hey, you know, Bitcoin does validate above those regions. I'm not going to call a downside continuation on this. Just probably doesn't get as much upside. Let's see, daily week. So you're on higher term time frames in this case. Bean the message. Where is it? Satoshi Krown Crypto. What? Where is your message? I don't see. It's right there. Oh, there it is. See. All right, super chats closed. All right, so we'll do all the super chats before this moment, but none of them after this moment. Okay, so it seems to me that you're mostly interested in higher term timeframes in this case. So what I'd say here is, and probably what's most relevant to you is, I don't look at this as constructing like a major low until you're back up about 23.5 cents. That would be, again, very similar to Bitcoin, presumably above about 44.5, yeah. And I think best it does the upside from there is 28 to 29 cents, or sorry, yeah, 28 to 29 cents. Long term, really not a fan of this chart. But if, you know, Bitcoin gets a bounce, this one probably falls up to those regions. Short term, if Bitcoin were to get back up to like 40, 42, 43, I'm probably looking for this one at somewhere around about 21 cents or so. And I would call major downside continuation with any sort of a daily closure at all below 16.9 cents. And at that point, I'm looking for this one to retest your January spike lows from like just under 14 cents. Not a fan of this one long term. You know, going to require a very broad, strong market. Okay, Matic for on daily says Olak Somani. Sure. We haven't looked at that one today. Was once upon a time one of the strongest of the strong, but now mostly par for the course. And again, same chart. We've seen the same chart many times, many times today. Look, if you're on a 4-hour, I would be looking at an upside validation condition and a range resolution above 152, and I'd be looking at targets back up towards 160 to 165. Above 165 on a daily, that starts to solidify this as a major low as well, and I'd be having continuation targets up to $1.80, about $1.80 to $1.90. Problem is that we're still in a downtrend. So, as always, it's unwise for me to be calling upside until those conditions are met, but that would be my triggers for upside major continuation in this case. 4-hour time frame, I'm looking for a bounce from here. Bounce probably comes up to 148.5, 150-ish region. The question is, does it get back above the 152 region? If it does, then that, I'd be looking for general continuation there. Again, alongside Bitcoin as well. Any sort of a closure below about 140, basically, especially on a higher time frame. I'm looking for this one to retest your February lows, probably even lower than that over time too. But for right now, I think in general the market at least has one more bounce in it, and then we see, if Bitcoin gets above the critical levels. If it does, everything gets extended. If it doesn't, well, it'll be a tough next few months. All right, Echo ZN's the last one of the day. Apple on the daily and weekly. Apple on the daily and weekly. All right, and we'll do the last one for EWT. All right, man, but that's we do really have to cut it off after that. But Apple on the daily and weekly was saving up rubles to buy my hot online Roblox girlfriend a plane ticket from Russia. She sounds lovely. This does not look lovely. Not a lovely chart right there. I do think that this one does have more downside over the long period of time. On a daily, however, do we get another bounce here? Probably yes. Yes, but long term, man, over probably around end of year, I'm looking for this one down around about $1.40 to $1.45 region. Short term above 168, I'm looking for a nice reversal up to 175 to 180. Until then, let's see, what about the very short term? Generally speaking, I'm looking for more downside on this one. Does it get another bounce short term? Maybe. I don't have strong opinions on that. I really don't have strong opinions on that. Long term, I do think that my strong opinion is long term. This one comes down to like 140 or so in the next 3 to 5 months, I'd say. Many drives of bearish divergence on the monthly here. 1, 2, 3 right there. So usually 3 strikes and you're down to the 21. So that's what I'd say about that. Weekly, probably same thing as well. Yeah, many drives right there as well. But I guess next bounce target would be like 150 even for the weekly. Okay, SAT, Energy Web Token. I don't think this does not ring any bells actually. Energy Web Token. Okay, we got KuCoin, maybe Kraken has more history. Let's see. It does have more history, and the history is not great. On the daily, you say. It is in kind of more of a bouncy region right here. You are starting to put in a couple drives of bullish divergence. Here's the thing. I actually do think that this one bounces from here. If your bounce gets back up about 520, that's where things start to change around quite a fair bit, and I look for extension just shy of $6. I actually do think that that's a little bit more likely right now. I would only invalidate that and thus validate, well, major downside continuation in this case below about 440. At that point, it's probably going to enter into a bit of free fall between about $3 and $2.50 in the following weeks. But for right now, I think most things in this market are getting ready for a bounce. This one long term, not great. I think, on like a best case scenario, if Bitcoin really got a big move up here, which is still quite far away, I think best it does the upside is like $8, $7.50 to $8 or so. And then probably long-term downside. I'm not a big fan of this chart right here, but I do think it's got one more short-term bounce in it, and then, does it get above those regions or not? Cool. All right. I think that is it for today. It's been a nice, fun day, man. Actually, I was expecting today to be very, very quiet, but actually, decent turnout, man. So thanks for joining in. It's been an absolute pleasure this week. I know it's been a rather boring week, but the range trades have been very, very generous. If you have their patience for them, that is certainly required for them. So I'm gonna be signing off now. We'll be back on Monday with another live stream analysis, and over the weekend I'm gonna be interviewing a good friend actually of this channel, Mr. Crypto Ed NL, who I have a strong amount of respect for. So definitely keep an eye out for that, as we just confirmed that. So I'm really, really happy about that. And yeah, with that said, take care. See you hopefully soon. Elsa's waving in the background with her penguin, because we actually met a penguin in Dubai. Crazy. And when are we Elden Ringing? Today, man. I've been doing it every day since release. It's been amazing. Anyways, with that said, take care, and see you hopefully soon.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it.